Hi, everybody. Welcome to Beyond the Batcast, where a podcast where I, Adam Upper, talk with my buddy Braydon Keddie about Batman the Animated Series. And this week, we will be talking about Christmas with the Joker. Welcome, Brandon. How are you doing this week or
I'm
today?
doing good, man. How are you feeling?
That I am doing good. I'm excited to do our first Joker episode, because that means we get to talk about Mark Hamill.
The legend.
Yes, which some people know as Luke Skywalker, and which I don't think when I was a huge Star Wars person when this first came out, so like initially like run through, I probably didn't know right away until like it got popular and they were like, oh yeah, Luke Skywalker's like the Joker and stuff. And I was like, okay. And then I think I didn't really get into Star Wars until they did the re-releases in like 96 and 97. Then I was more a Star Wars person after that. And I probably did watch them as a kid, but it wasn't like a big thing until I was a teenager, really.
And it's amazing for those of us who are both Star Wars and Batman fans, how many of us didn't recognize the correlation until I mean, some people knew like going in now that the internet's a thing and there's all these different, like conventions and stuff where you hear about these kinds of things. But for so many, like I remember for myself, I had no idea that he was the Joker until I was probably like in college.
This episode aired November 13th, 1992, making it the 38th episode aired, but it was the second in production number, so this will be our first real issue with us doing it in production order instead of air date, because because obviously like you could probably drop the Joker in and don't really need to do like the Joker origin story, because there at that point there wasn't really one, I guess,
Mhm.
unless you count the Tim Burton Batman one where he fucking drops him in the chemicals or whatever sort of thing. So you could do that, but the big thing is, this like why would they produce the second one with Robin, and then the friggin' introduction like to his backstory isn't till like way later on, which is like the like production issues 32 and 33, but it wasn't like the till like the 51st and 53rd episodes that aired where they did like the Robin origin story and backflashes and stuff. So it's kind of weird that they would do like a Robin one second issue of that production, but not air until like the 38th episode, like weeks later. But
Yeah, this is a
yeah,
good episode, but that's something that I would definitely take into account, and we'll talk more about it as we go along. But they throw a lot of new characters at you in this episode and just kind of expect the audience to roll with it. Like, so we came from On Leather Wings, where Batman's solo, the only person who's really working with is Alfred. And then Robin just pops out of nowhere. And then
but
you've
yeah, but
got Summer Gleason, who's just randomly there with Commissioner Gordon and Bullock being
yeah.
hostage.
So but at least we got like the introduction to Bullock and Commissioner Gore in the episode before. But yeah, Summer Gleason's just why like why would the Joker pick her for the third person? You would think it would have been like probably would have been Robin that he picked up. You would think, or
Hmm.
maybe I was going to say Alfred, but I guess this version they don't hint and that he kind of knows who Batman is and just doesn't care. So yeah, I guess it wouldn't be Alfred, but I wonder when does his daughter show up in this series? You remember?
Barbara shows up actually when we get to the Hardak episode.
Oh,
And you see kind of why she's kind of a vehicle for a little bit of exposition in the storytelling of that episode. But I distinctly remember her first appearing in that. She's not Batgirl yet, but
oh
yeah.
yeah, because I think it's a while still. And then too, like I think it was funny that they aired this episode like at the like mid-November instead of being like the last episode before they broke for the Christmas break, because it's like obviously a Christmas episode because it starts off with the the Joker and Arkham, singing the Batman version of Jingle Bells, which is funny.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, then
that
then he like puts the ornament on top of the tree, and then that activates the go-go gadget rocket tree, and he is able to escape, starting off the episode.
So a couple of notes about that scene. So if you catch in the background, there's a guy who's like an Arkham inmate with long hair, and this is kind of jumping ahead to production information. They modeled him after Charles Manson, and it's like, well, I mean, I guess
That's
when you're like grade A patient is the Joker, I guess like Charles
yeah,
Manson is kind of like secondary.
it's an interesting thing they had reference in a Batman thing,
Yeah.
and
But
then
just the fact that Joker was able to smuggle all
yeah.
the necessary parts of this like rocket Christmas tree into Arkham
Or
Asylum.
or I was thinking that the somehow was able to smuggle the tree in as already rocket, and just the ornament on the top was the activator. You just kind of need to do that and escape. So he just was like, "Ha, suckers," and just
Yeah.
so it was nice and quick. So
Yeah,
which I feel is more cartoon accurate, cartoon Joker accurate. Just to have like the
for
tree
sure.
already like pre-made.
Yeah. And the
And
other
then
thing that,
yeah, and then
well,
too, I was looking up that like nothing solid, but it looks like the first references of that the Batman version of Jingle Bells was probably around the time when the Adam West Batman show came out in like the late '60s. It's probably like in and around there. So I'm
yeah.
not sure. So I'm not sure if that was from the show itself or it just kind of was already just in the Batman was kind of more in the lexicon of the American people, so they just kind of kids on the playground kind of making shit up, and it
I
came
was gonna
about
say
that way.
everybody grew up with that version
Yeah,
to the point where now it's like an internet meme.
yeah, because I
But
initially I was thinking if it was going to be with from this show, but I think I remember singing on the playground like before seeing the show when I was like a younger kid, so it definitely wasn't from this, and I remember it wasn't in the Batman '89 movie, because that would be my first real introduction to Batman, because I said I didn't watch the Adam West show the show before seeing '89 Batman, or after still. So he escapes, and then it cuts to like, what was it like? Is he Bruce Wayne, or is he like or is he Batman, like back at home?
yeah, so it's Batman and Robin like in the Batcave pretty much ready to kind of jump into the car and take off, which I think speaks volumes about Bruce's character because it's Christmas Eve and this man is a workaholic. Like this
Yeah,
guy it's not like he's like a Scrooge, just like,
he's not bah
just
humbug, but he's like, I
bah
still gotta
humbug.
work.
And
Yeah,
even Robin
because
calls him
even
Scrooge.
because even Robin's like, hey, why can't it's Christmas Eve? Do we really need to go out and do stuff? Like nobody's gonna be doing shit.
Mhm.
And then I think that's when they figure out that the Joker had escaped,
Yeah.
because he
And
had
Robin
it.
And Robin goes and says, like, we should be like going home and like watching like It's a Wonderful Life, which, okay, so this comes out in like early 90s. Robin is like college age. So, hey, I'm not dissing It's a
Uh,
Wonderful Life. I love watching it.
yeah, is he college age at this point, or is he still like 13-year-old Robin?
No, I think he's in the
That
university because later on you see him in his dormitory. And I
uh,
think it's a
uh,
in-universe explanation about why we don't see Robin as often because I think that Bruce is of the mindset like, well, I'm paying for your school, so you're gonna go to school. And yeah, I guess if you got like the weekends and
yeah,
spring
spare
break,
time, you better fucking come out and be
Yeah.
bright and take the gunfire while I sneak up behind him, Billy Club
Yeah.
in the head. Thunk.
We were making the joke earlier that like Alfred's the one who like designed the Robin costume. I mean, obviously there's a bit of that circus element to his backstory, but we're just like, yeah, Alfred definitely like saw this kid as like a rival for his inheritance money and decided to dress him up in like bright colors so that he could, get a shot at, because yes, Alfred is an elderly man, obviously, but when it comes to an elderly butler versus a 30 something year old billionaire who moonlights as a vigilante and gets shot at all the time, who do you think's going to die first?
Okay, at that point, it still could be up in the air, but money's on the guy getting shot at. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, so Robin just talks Batman and saying, yeah, if we don't find anything tonight, we'll come back and watch the movie. So that's what
Mhm.
happens. They go out, they see the guy like running down the street, and Batman thinks he's trying to rob the old lady, but she just dropped her present. And this guy was just being nice, like, hey man, you dropped your present back a couple blocks back, here you go. And he's like, oh, you're such a good guy. And you see Batman come up and like land in the alleyway behind him, going like, oh, I almost fucking beat this guy up for saving the day.
Mhm. He's
And
looking
then
for an excuse.
so yeah, pretty much, yeah. So they get back, and then they go and try and watch A Wonderful Life, and that's when we find out that the Joker escaped because he does like which made me think of that episode of Krusty the Clown, or of The Simpsons, where uh, Sideshow Bob. It was a Sideshow Bob episode, and he threatened to blow up Springfield with a nuclear bomb to try and get TV off the air. So
Mhm.
Krusty the Clown like it ran away and went out to that wherever that was that had like the emergency broadcast channel. And he was broadcasting from there. I felt like, yeah, that's what that felt like when the Joker was doing the live broadcast. And now, like before I got the job that I have now, I was wondering how easy it would have been to actually try and just take over like a TV station. It's definitely not as hard as it's not as easy as this or hackers would make you think to get what you want on TV if you're trying to hack in, because
Well, I'm
that's
sure from a
basically
technical aspect, it's more complicated than we would think. I mean, you would have more the insider information about how to do something like that. But for the Joker, it's pretty much I'm just going to point a gun at the right person's head and say, "Do this
yeah.
right," take you out.
Yeah, or at least like you would think in this universe it wouldn't be the ordinary to just have like a bunch of like satellite dishes sticking out of the back of the building and you can just like over and like hijack the signal that way. But I don't think you would be able to do that in real life even with my insight with my job and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Also,
so yeah, so that
did you notice when Bruce and Dick are hanging out? So like they got their casual wear on, like Dick's in like a sweater vest and pants. Bruce is in like a full suit. So it's Christmas Eve. He's not going anywhere. Like this is his what he considers lounge wear.
yeah, relax and chill at home time is still a suit. Yeah, we you gotta have a home suit. Like, come on, you're rich.
Oh yeah.
Gotta have a home suit. You gotta go into the store suit. Hanging
Home
out at the
tie,
coffee shop
home
suit.
suit, home dress shoes.
Or if you have a house like that, it's like the third floor suit, the second floor suit, because he already has like the hidden cave suit, the bat suit. So that's a
That's
suit
true.
for everything. So the Joker is tempting Batman, and says he has like because he doesn't have a family for Christmas, he hijacks one, and that's where we find out where we said where he got Commissioner Gordon, Harvey Dent, or not Harvey Dent, what the fuck? No,
Tony
what's his
Harvey's.
name? Yeah, yeah, Harvey, and Summer, which I don't know why that I'm not sure why she was like the third person that he kidnapped,
Well, that's
and
what
then
I
he
was
had
saying. I'm like, to the audience, Joker just kidnapped some random woman because if
yeah.
this is supposed to be the first Joker episode aired, then and the first episode with Summer in it, And it's just like, who the heck is this? Like, I mean, yeah, she's a hostage, but it's like if
Uh,
there's like personal stakes involved, we have no
who
attachment to
is
this
this
person.
lady?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So then the Joker poses that if he doesn't find them by midnight, he's going to kill them. And how he's going to kill them is that they're like which we find out later on that they're in like an abandoned toy factory that has a big vat of lava.
yeah.
Like
What
was
the
it what
heck was that?
like
What
what
are you
is it
making these
like
toys
yeah,
out of?
yeah, like why is there a vat of this is not fucking Minecraft where you have just like a that thing of lava in your base. Like or like oh there's or is that like molten plastic from all the abandoned toys like that or something that's there? Like why is or
Maybe,
like
but that kind of begs the question of what are they mixing with that plastic? Like, they
yeah,
said
like
that this is an
yes.
abandoned toy factory. I think
Yeah,
I'm starting to see why they went out of business.
yeah, yeah. Like, so I was quite curious on what the fuck was going on with that. Like, I didn't understand.
And I'd also like to point out the fact that just because the police commissioner has been kidnapped, that should not make your entire police force incompetent when it comes to their leadership gone. Like the fact that I mean, it's Christmas Eve, so maybe they're just sitting around there waiting for the holiday party and saying, I don't care if, the whole city's being taken hostage. I am not passing up on those candy cane jello shots.
But yeah, there's like just a skeleton crew at Gotham Central sitting there, and they're like, oh, yeah, it's not out of the ordinary not to see Commissioner today, so we're not going to bother to see where him and Harvey is. We're just because I don't see Harvey having a family.
No.
No. So, because I think later on you see him like go home to like an empty apartment except for like the cockroaches on the wall.
What I can see Gordon doing to Harvey on a Christmas Eve like party is forcing him to be in the Santa suit and him just being like looking miserable the entire time. So, I mean, jury's out whether this is a more tolerable way of passing the time for the day.
He'd be like friggin' what's his like Bad Santa, like I believe Bob Third style Bad Santa,
Yeah.
just like old literal fucking Santa instead of the jolly one, and most likely drunk.
Most likely, I'm gonna go with 100%. It's Harvey Bullock we're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, one thing I think I mentioned to you a while ago. So like I was kind of thinking because like this is a Christmas themed episode.
Yeah.
So like at first I thought, well, maybe like Batman is the kind of person who wouldn't celebrate Christmas. He'd be celebrating Festivus though. Like celebrating, like the Seinfeld version of the holiday. So I could see very much it being a thing of, Alfred kind of in that, you know, uh George's dad role from the show, where he's just like, I've got a lot of grievances and you are gonna hear about them. Like this is just his one day to like take it out of the one day of the calendar year where he gets to just take it out on Bruce for all the crap that he puts him through. I've got a lot of
Yeah, that
grievances and you're gonna hear about them.
or yeah, or like the public facing Bruce Wayne would have to probably have to celebrate Christmas just to make everyone happy, probably. I would think.
Yeah. But yeah, so Joker, yeah, he goes and says he's gonna threaten to blow up a rail bridge in time for the 11 o'clock train. And Summer realizes that her mom is on that train, so she's freaking out.
Yeah, so
And
then
Batman,
the Joker has a nice little like hand puppet like elf, which made me think of that episode of South Park where Cartman was making fun of Jennifer Lopez, and
oh,
then had the singing hand, and I was just waiting for like taco flavored kisses to start singing. And I'm like, oh yeah, sorry, that's the wrong episode. I love when Batman figures out that that's what the plan is, that there's always the road going parallel with the train, so they can both jump on and save the day.
I was watching, that Sherlock series with Benedict Cumberbatch where he's got like the
Yeah,
Mind Palace.
yeah,
If Batman does not have a Mind Palace of the entire map layout of Gotham City, like I will eat my shoe. Like
Yeah,
that, there is no doubt in my mind that
yeah,
a
because I
person
think
that
yeah, because I think that
obsessed.
was yeah, because I think that was part of the caveat. The Court of the Owls coming in because because he like knew Gotham City because obviously that was part of being Batman. So if something was going on, he'd be able to figure what where was going on, sort of thing. And then they were able to fucking be a part of Gotham for longer than he was, like under his nose. So yeah, so that that definitely falls into that sort of thing. Dude would just knowing Gotham like better than the back of his hand, sort of thing.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, obviously he was able to like, oh yeah, the train's right there. So that's a part of the train track that has roads, so be able to go alongside, jump on, save the day, and just get everyone off. I even like how the front of the trains kind of look like the Batmobile, like that sort of style, like the Gothic
That's a
style.
good
So
point. I didn't think of that.
yeah, so like I really like how like the style of the show did take a lot of it from the Tim Burton Batmans, but didn't take the Tim Burton like the Tim Burton aesthetic, which I call it, which is kind of what I don't like about the Tim Burton movies, which I'm not a big Tim Burton guy. But
Yeah.
yeah, so Batman saves the day with the train, gets everyone off before the train goes off, and then that's where he's like in the Batmobile and his faces a uptick in like electricity use, and that's where he's able to pinpoint where that the Joker was at the abandoned toy factory where he was broadcasting from and whatnot. Which I'm not sure if television broadcast would spike your hydro use enough to so that Batman would be able to pick you out.
Yeah. I mean, I think the amount of like energy going into, like a
Yeah,
toy factory, like when you think
yeah,
of all like the mechanics and stuff.
I guess he's tracking the electricity use to like make the lava hot. I guess is what
Yeah.
it might more so than the cameras, unless it's like
This is where
old
we
style
Google
cameras.
how much electricity does it take to heat lava or keep it hot?
A Joker sized vat of lava.
Yeah. And
Uh,
he's got that cannon, remember? Like he's like
yeah,
turned
yeah,
this.
like yeah, I'm not sure how he got the cannon on top of that too. Like when they got outside when they saw the gift or whatever that popped out, and that cannon
So
was weird.
here's my question when it comes to like the like because it has to be making this stuff, right? Like in your mind, is it Joker or do you think it's someone like Toyman?
Or it's just like the whoever like just like the third party contractors are that
Yeah.
Joker hires out to build stuff, I guess. Which I guess
I
like
found him
funds
on
probably like
Craigslist.
it probably which probably was like what like funds like 75 of like the business in Gotham City is just all like the everybody making shit for all the schemes that are like in progress because somebody's got to make all the schemes for all the Penguin stuff that's going on. Like Riddler's always got fucking something going on. He's got everything already planned before he gets to Batman, so he's got to have that shit already built. So I think Riddler's building all that shit himself? Probably not. And does the Joker have the attention span to fucking build everything?
Oh no.
Make all those fucking junk and clattering teeth he fucking puts everywhere.
Yeah.
He's just like where's my bag of fucking fake teeth? All right, here we go. And he goes out and starts fucking being the Joker
Well,
and doing
once
toxic
again,
shit.
when it comes to the Joker, who has like no moral code whatsoever, it's like he goes to just some random engineer and says, "So here's the deal: you make this for me, and I don't kill you."
Or I may kill you anyway, but like may wait till the end. I don't know, but either way, make this for
Life is like a box of chocolates, but know what you're gonna get. Except for me, the guy with the gun. But
me.
yeah, you get
Yeah,
Batman
yeah,
drawing the fire of this cannon,
yeah.
and
So then they get inside, and then him and Robin split up, and then Robin goes through like. Then again, there's something that he would have had Joker would have had somebody else to make for him is all the statues or whatever of him with like with the handguns or whatever that are shooting at him. So he has to find Robin has to run through those guys, and then
Yeah, Joker
then
just
Bat
has like a dozen like giant nutcrackers with rifles.
and then Batman calls out a play that which makes Robin shoot and blow up the cannon, and that's how they get inside. And I like how fucking they got on the ground floor, and then they look up to the guys with the guns. He calls two guys with Tommy gun snipers.
Yeah, Joker's got snipers.
Well,
What?
well, he's got guys with guns, but uh, Tommy guns aren't snipers. Yeah, they don't use you don't snipe with Tommy guns.
Oh, those are yeah. It's kind of like an oxymoron in terms of like
Yeah,
ammunition.
they may be like Obi-Wan Kenobi and have the high ground, but that doesn't necessarily make them a sniper.
Yeah, I think the purpose of a sniper is that you get the person with one bullet, and a Tommy
Yeah,
gun is like you
yeah.
got 10 bullets in you before the next round. But yeah, I put down here so like when he's fighting the giant nutcrackers, once again we have another addition to embarrassing ways for Batman to potentially die. Just getting shish kebabbed at the end of like a giant nutcrackers like bayonet. And just Robin just watching it, like just didn't watch him get skewered and just like mortified in front of him, like, oh my gosh, man.
Yeah, like you're like either 13 to 20-year-old Robin, how the ambiguous age of Robin is in this cartoon, watching your
Mhm.
mentor die by like a Joker nutcracker.
Yeah. Mortician's filling out the paperwork, speared by giant nutcracker.
So yeah, so that's where I found too, which was also funny that the with the Tommy guns were shooting at Batman, and then Batman uses his cape, puts on one of the big bears. They shoot at the his cape, find out it's just the bear, and then you see Batman with his cape back on, and then there's no bullet holes in it.
Yeah. And then you get Joker and his men finding him, and they get the hostages. Okay, so the description says vat of molten plastic. So that answers our question if it's
Oh,
lava or
no, molten plastic. But even then, why would you need a big vat that size of it then?
yeah.
Obviously I don't know much about making toys, but I'm fairly certain that's not how they're made.
Maybe they overindulge in their supply money, and that's what bankrupted the business. When it comes to the ratio of how much plastic we need to how much output, it was like we need like one vat per toy, and they're like, no, like Paul, this is not how you make a child's toy. Like, have you been to business school? Business school.
What's the business school?
But yeah, so then you get Joker coming at them and saying he's going to drop them in the vat if Batman doesn't get his Christmas present. Batman opens the present and discovers a spring-loaded pie inside. So, all right, I know that this is the Joker, so like we shouldn't be thinking in terms of rationality for how he makes his plans out. But if this entire night was just setting up for a pie gag, which does correlate to an insane person's way of thinking, you'd think he would make the cream like plastic explosive or something so that
Or
he just
or
like
or
lights it.
or poison pie. Because that
Yeah.
definitely that definitely feels like as I brought before, it more feels like the Adam West gag than than the Batman TS
You'd make
gig.
it like plastic explosive and you just blow Batman's head off. Merry Christmas. Like that's Batman. That's the Joker's MO. Like,
or have like Joker makeup on it, and they make Batman look like the like made up as a Joker or something, and then be like,
mhm.
haha, you look like me now.
Yeah. And Batman's just got this look on his face like, really? Like,
He's
really? Like, do you
like
know how much
unimpressive.
stress I've been through this night alone? But yeah, he
Yeah,
Joker cuts the rope over the hostages and Batman saves them. and Joker manages to evade them, but trips on a roller skate and almost falls into the molten plastic vat. So you gotta wonder if like Joker's having some PTSD flashbacks while he's hanging over that vat. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
feels familiar.
yeah. So yeah, that's what made me think of the Ace Chemicals thing. If his origin was that from there, or if it was just more so the '89 Batman one. But I don't remember them actually ever touching on the Joker origin in the show at all. Do you?
They hint
Like
at it,
like
I think, in like that episode, not this series, but when they do the continuation where it's everything's kind of redesigned. I remember the episode with the creeper that they showed what was a reenactment for, like, like when you watch those like news investigation stories
yeah,
and they
yeah,
show had like actors dressed up like the characters,
yeah.
and they said like this is where the Joker was born. And so you had as close to an origin story as you can in kind of this like, retelling narrative.
Okay. Was it the Red Hood thing, or is it just like he just went crazy and became the Joker sort of thing?
I don't think Red Hood was a part of it, but I think that they just had him as like just this mafia guy. If anything, it's more akin to the Tim Burton '89 kind of origin.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. So mafia guy then just eventually went crazy. Thought it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Batman saves him and then sends it back to Arkham, and that's where see him singing in his cell with a straight jacket on. So yeah, straight jacket.
Do you think the inmates are gonna like, start beating on Joker the second that they, get him alone when they realize that this guy had a rocket powered Christmas tree? And it's like, do you realize how many of us could have grabbed onto the branches and escaped with you? Like,
No, I
I don't
think
care
I
if you're
know.
a homicidal maniac, you are going down tonight.
No, I was thinking they were probably thinking, oh, it's just the Joker being the Joker again. He'll be back like within 24 hours
Yeah.
or 24 to 48, depending on what else is going on outside in Gotham right now. And then they go back to Wayne Manor, and Robin and Bruce are watching The Wonderful Life, and he says that the movie had its moments. And
So the whole reason that Dick said that he wanted to show Bruce It's a Wonderful Life was because I believe his words were, it shows one man's impact on a city. And that made him think of Bruce, which makes me think there's a little bit of like Jimmy Stewart that Dick Grayson sees in Batman. So just picturing Jimmy Stewart as Batman, like just, that scene where he's grabbing his uncle by the collar, just like, Where's the money going? Swear to me."
Oh,
And I'm
gee.
just
Oh, yeah.
picturing Bruce like watching the movie, and as it ends, he's like, if I was George Bailey, I would have like hung Mr. Potter off the side of a fire escape until he gives that money back. And if he doesn't, I'll just let him land on his legs. And looking at Dick's horrified face, like he's paralyzed. He's gonna feel it.
Yeah, I do the Batman Begins thing with Eric Roberts. He's like, yeah, at this height, it's not going to kill me. I know. What?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Yeah, I was going to do like a Jimmy Stewart impression, but I really, really can't do one. So I'll just spare everybody my really, really bad impression. Definitely one thing I can't do is impressions.
Oh, I'm more than happy to pull those out of my arsenal,
But
or some other
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
Uh whenever a situation calls for it.
yeah. So do you remember watching this episode like while you're watching it on TV, like when you did?
I don't think so. I honestly didn't know that this was the first Joker episode. I honestly want to say,
As I said, it's like this second produced one, but it aired
sorry,
it's
yeah.
the 38th there or one side looks like there's a couple other Joker episodes like that aired before this one, but again, that's why I was saying at the beginning of the episode that was weird that they produced this one second with dropping the Joker and Robin in when they both don't
Hmm.
show up till like obviously the Joker shows up earlier, but then Robin shows up a bit later, and he's on and off for a while before it becomes the Batman and Robin show. in like season two or three or whatever, whenever it changes. But
Yeah.
yeah, but as I said, like I remember watching this show when it was airing on the weekends on Fox. Like, so it was like probably like season like two, or it was, I think it's season two or three when it starts there, because when this episode aired is when they're airing Monday to Fridays, like in the afternoon. So they're in like one episode a day. So that's why I think the first season has like 65 of the 85 episodes, or however many the first season has, because they're doing like the one a day instead of one a week.
Dude, we were
But
so
yeah,
spoiled in the 90s.
yeah. It's definitely good. Yeah, so yeah, it's like I'm sure I might have watched it during the week, but I had more have a memory of watching it on the week, like in the weekends with that block. But yeah, like I'm sure I probably watched this episode as it was airing, but at some point, because I'm sure this is probably one of the episodes that got repeated, that was more on repeat than some of the other ones.
I'll say this much. I will watch the Joker's hostage Christmas special over watching Christmas with the Cranks again.
Christmas of the Critics, I'm not 100% if I've actually watched that one or not.
Have you ever watched paint dry on a wall? Then you've endured a similar experience.
Alrighty, so what would you rank this episode out of five rocket Christmas trees?
5 rocket Christmas trees rating.
Yeah, like
I'm
how
gonna
many points?
go with 3 rocket Christmas trees. The
Three.
only reason is because I like a lot of what they're doing. It's just, and yeah, I know that this was different than the production layout of how things were broadcasted, but if this was the original intent, you're throwing a lot of new characters at it. The characters land, like, like Robin is good, Joker's good, and even like some of the background pieces of the whole story fit together very well. And you see just what kind of a cat and mouse game this whole thing is between Batman and Joker. But I personally wouldn't have had this be the first Joker episode. I think it stands well on its own, but in terms of the sequence of how the series goes forward, I personally would have picked it as something to be broadcasted later, which sounds like they did,
Yeah,
but
like
it
pretty
wouldn't
much.
be
Yeah, I
something
suppose
I'd
I think
be in the pre-production stage putting into the lineup.
but yeah, I think I probably, I was thinking might out of five, but I probably do a solid 3 out of 5 rocket Christmas trees as well. Yeah, because yeah, it's a Joker. Yeah, the Joker just being his crazy Joker self, like using the rocket Christmas tree to get out of Arkham Asylum instead of just going out the front door. He's got to make it. Got to make a spectacle out of his escape, just to go onto TV to put more attention on himself instead of going after Batman. He's making Batman come after him. Instead of thinking, just in case if Batman does actually have a family on the side when he's not being Batman, he's gonna try and pull him out and make him do stuff on Christmas. But even though we find out in the episode he's actually doing that anyway, so that may so he kind of so that part of Joker's plan may not have worked. But yeah, so I think 3 out of 5 rocket Christmas trees.
Yeah, I think the episode's really well done. And yeah, I think it's a fun Christmas themed episode for, Batman, and you get a bit of an insight about, the kind of personality that Bruce Wayne has when he's not fighting crime. But it definitely very good story about a guy kind of coming to the rescue of other people, but also like, okay, like you need a hobby, Bruce. You need to socialize. Therapy.
Beating people up is my therapy, Alfred. Alrighty, people. That is the episode for this week. Thank you everyone for listening to us yum around for however long this has been so far. You can follow us on Twitter/X at Beyond Backcast, or on Instagram at Beyond the Backcast. And then you could listen to this podcast on wherever you get your podcasts from. And Braden, where can we find you on the internet?
You can find me on Instagram. Just look for Alfred is Zaddy. That's
Alfred is
Alfred
Zaddy.
is Zaddy.
It's that Canadian come out with the Zeds. All right, and then you can find me on Instagram at Stump Chunkman, and then you can listen to my other podcasts that I do sometimes, which I will actually am recording an episode later on today. We'll be talking about Echo, so that will be coming out at some point whenever I decide to have time to edit that around these ones. So, and that one is called The Multiverse of Marvel. And you can find that find them on Instagram or Twitter or slash slash X, which I really don't post on or anything. So, and then you can find that podcast wherever you find your podcast. So, goodbye, good chums, and have a good week. Kapow.